It's week 2 of the high school football playoffs, and you are listening to the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup right here only on WWL. The Esquire, Brad Luminais with you, along with Coach Lou Valden. We're live from Joe Yenny Stadium tonight as John Curtis and Jesuit mix it up for a chance to advance to the quarterfinals. It's the 8 o'clock hour of the show, which means it's time for the Allstate Sugar Bowl interview of the week. And this week, joining us is Nick Carparelli, the Executive Director of Bowl Season. College football playoffs, bowl season, just around the corner, so we figured we'd have Nick on the show tonight, chat a little bit about the bowl season and what's coming up. Nick, thanks so much for joining us tonight on the program. We're glad to have you part of it.
Brad, happy to be with you. Looking forward to talking to you for the next few minutes.
All right, Nick, so we're in high school football playoff season right now. For us, bowl season is rapidly approaching, and I know that bowl season, who you are the executive director of, is a big supporter of the college football playoff. We got the expansion to 12 teams. We've got multiple bowls that are going to get played throughout the next few months. Just give our fans a little hint and a little insight about the role that all the bowl games have for our student athletes and, you know, the bands, the cheerleaders, the fans that want to attend, the students that want to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, you know, bowl season's been around for over 100 years. You know, as we all know the history, the Rose Bowl was the first bowl game in 1902. You know, the Sugar Bowl is one of 3 bowl games that's tied for the second oldest. The Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Sun Bowl were around since 1935. There's 42 bowl games now that just provide tremendous opportunities for student athletes to have meaningful experiences that they remember for their lifetime. And it's it's one of the great traditions of American sport. You know, you think about the sports calendar in this country. We come to count on certain events to happen at the same time every year. We all know what we're going to be doing that second Sunday in February. We're going to be watching the Super Bowl. You know, March Madness obviously hits us with college basketball in March, with the Final Four in early April, and December is bowl season. You know, it's that 3-week period of time where people turn on their TV between Christmas and New Year's, looking to find a bowl game. They might not even know which one they're going to find. They just know they're going to find one. It's going to be a great matchup, and it's going to be a celebration of college football every December.
And the popularity of bowl season is probably just as strong now as it ever has been. And I know there are a lot of numbers that I think you had for us for attendance and everything last year. Dipped a little bit, I guess, because of the pandemic, but bowl season, from all estimations, should be back to pre-pandemic levels this year, right?
Yeah, we expect it to. You know, in 2019 was the last normal year that any of us experienced, and you know, for bowl season, that was we had 1.6 million fans attend bowl games that year in person, 42,000 per game average. We had 207 million watch it on TV, 5.4 million people watch the average bowl game. It's an amazing phenomenon, Brad. You know, it's one of those brands, and there's very few in any industry, but in college sports, you take the same regular season matchup and you play it in December, you call it a bowl game, it consistently gets 2 to 3 times the number of viewers, because it's a tradition. You know, people over the holidays, they're home, they're watching TV, they want to watch college football, they look forward to these matchups. And people say, 42 bowl games, is that too many? No one's forcing communities to host these games. No one's forcing teams to play in them, and no one's forcing people to watch them. But they all do. So I think that answers that question.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, over 200 million had watched in 2019. So it's not like bowl season needs any more advertisement or any more marketing, because clearly y'all are doing an excellent job. But I happened to stumble across a new podcast that I saw called Bowl Season Stories. And Mark Richt and Don McPherson were actually 2 guys that we had on our program in the last year or so, and I saw that they had been a part of the Bowl Season Stories podcast. So just tell listeners a little bit about that podcast and how's it going, and if they want to subscribe or they want to pick up a little series and listen to Bowl Season Stories, how they can do that.
Absolutely. Well, in general, Brad, one of our big, missions and goals is to tell all the great stories about bowl season and bowl games past, people that have participated in them and all the great memories, and try to make sure people understand how meaningful these experiences are. So, one of our initiatives is our podcast that we started last year. called Bowl Season Stories. We had 21 episodes in 2021. We're scheduled to have 20 in total this year. I think we just released our 12th episode this week. Amazing guests. It's not hard for us to find people who have played in bowl games, coached in bowl games, announced bowl games that are willing to come and talk about their experiences doing that. You mentioned Mark Richt. Don McPherson was a great guest. We've had college Hall of Famers, NFL Hall of Famers. I had Coach Belichick on earlier in the year talking about growing up around the Navy football program and his dad coaching and the bowl games he went to and watched on TV, and what a special time of year it was for him. So really, it's really done a great job of helping us tell those stories. I encourage anybody to, you can find us on Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you would watch or listen to a podcast. You can find bowl season stories, and pick your favorite former player that we've had on as a guest and listen to that one first, and I think you'll be hooked.
Yeah, I think even our listeners in our listening area, Jacob Hester, I think, was on one, former LSU running back, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah, early on this year, for sure. Yep, he was a great guest. He had some great stories, and he's similar to a lot of our guests. It's kind of like I ask him about experiences playing in bowl games, not just the game itself, but the bowl week and the festivities and experiencing a new community that he may have never traveled to before, and doing it with his teammates and his best friends, especially senior year, when a lot of those guys, it's the last football game they'll ever play, and they get to go to this unique destination with their closest friends. Their eyes kind of light up when they talk about it. So it's been a fun project to work on.
Well, Nick, you probably are the person that I've ever spoken to in my life who has witnessed the most bowl games ever in their lifetime. So I don't know how many you've been to. I'm sure it's hundreds. I don't know how many you watched, but you probably
over 100, Brad, for sure. Well over 100 in person. I kind of stopped counting. I should. You're right. I challenge anybody to have seen more bowl games than me. I know my count was at 30 unique bowl games, 30 different bowl communities that I've seen. So I haven't seen all 42. I kind of need to see those other 12 at some point soon, since they're all under my umbrella. They might feel a little bit offended at some point if I don't get to their location.
Yeah, you don't want to leave them out. But I know that you've witnessed a couple of Sugar Bowl games. So just tell our fans if you got any special Sugar Bowl memories back in that back pocket of yours.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, the Sugar Bowl being the second oldest bowl game, obviously, just as a kid, I would watch it. The one I remember watching on TV the most is we mentioned Don McPherson earlier in 1987. He was runner-up to the Heisman Trophy. I was a Syracuse fan and ultimately worked at Syracuse, years later. And the famous tie game against Auburn, Syracuse fans were a little upset with Coach Dye kicking the field goal to tie it with 13 seconds left instead of going for the win. Us Northerners like to say that the last thing that Auburn wanted to do was to lose to a team from the North, so they settled for the tie. But then, professionally, I working at the Big East Conference, Cincinnati played Florida there, and they were our champion one year. And the Katrina year, West Virginia beat Georgia in Atlanta. Right. In the Sugar Bowl. Obviously very unique, and it's just an amazing job that the Sugar Bowl staff and the Peach Bowl staff did to help the Sugar Bowl that year to pull that off. And then I think in the BCS era and the CFP era, I've probably been to every national championship game at the Sugar Bowl as well. So just so many great memories there. Every bowl is unique, Brad. And they all do. They're so proud to host bowl games and to show off their community, and they all do it so well. But I don't think anybody does it any better than the Sugar Bowl staff does. Jeff Hunley does an unbelievable job there now, and of course Paul Houlihan.
Right.
I know you were going to ask about Paul, but just tremendously sad news a couple days ago. And Paul was a friend of mine. He was a legend in college football, not just in the bowl world, but you couldn't do anything in college football without talking about bowl games, without talking about the Sugar Bowl, and without talking about Paul Houlihan. He's a pleasure to be around. People enjoyed seeing him, and he treated people so well. He was just a tremendous asset to the game of college football in general and to the New Orleans community. We're all going to miss him.
Yeah, for our listeners that don't know, that's as you said, Nick, we're going to talk about that. Paul Houlihan, the former CEO of the Allstate Sugar Bowl for several years, unfortunately passed away this week. A tremendous loss, not only to the Sugar Bowl, but our community as a whole. He's a great guy, and I know you had a lot of good experiences professionally, and I'm sure personally just dealing with Paul.
Absolutely. We would. He was an interesting person, and on top of being a great leader, a great businessman, and a great friend to so many people. He was, we would have, like many conferences do, when I was at the Big East, we would have social events where we'd entertain our business partners, and he was the life of the party. People enjoyed having him around, and he had great stories and great personality, and really cared about people too. I mean, he took care of so many people. It was important to him that, especially, hosting teams and student athletes and coaches from other parts of the country. When they came to New Orleans, he wanted to make sure that they had the best experience possible, and showcased the city of New Orleans in the best light possible. And like I said earlier, we're all going to miss him.
Yes, thoughts and prayers out to Paul's family and friends and everyone else on that side. Sugar Bowl as well. I think we're probably going to have Jeff Hunley come on either next week or the week after that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But we enjoyed having you here tonight, Nick, talking some bowl season games with us and everything like that. So we're going to end this one on a light note and a kind of funny note. So whenever you come on the program, you get to take the bar exam, because I had to take one in real life. So I make you take one tonight, but don't worry, not going to be that hard, man. It's not 3 days worth of tests. You don't need to study. I'm going to give you 60 seconds, and they're all true, false, and we're just going to take Brad's bar exam. You ready for it?
I think so. I hope so.
All right, you don't have to study, I promise. 60 seconds on the clock. All right, let's go. True or false? You are a Yankees fan.
Very true.
You are originally from New York.
False.
You grew up in Connecticut.
True.
Your undergraduate degree is in sports management.
False.
You have an undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering.
True.
You played college basketball.
True.
You were previously the director of operations for the New England Patriots.
True.
As such, you were required to cut Bill Belichick's sleeves on his hoodies.
False.
You have a Super Bowl ring.
True.
A total of 59 college bowl games will be played this year.
False.
There are 42 bowl games this year.
True.
A team with a losing record can still actually make a bowl game.
True.
The Heinz Ketchup Bowl is a real game.
False.
The Duke's Mayo Bowl is a real game.
True.
You put mayo on your hamburger.
False.
You like sushi.
True.
There is a wasabi bowl.
True.
All right, we're up against the clock. Last one. The championship game this year will be played at SoFi Stadium.
True.
All right. Appreciate it, Nick. Tallying up the scores. I think you passed, man. You got them all right. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And that Super Bowl ring was won in New Orleans.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, that's something that not many people can put on their display case, and congratulations for you for having that opportunity.
Thank you, Brad. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
All right, Nick. There he is, Nick Carparelli, the executive director of bowl season. Bowl season's right around the corner in college football, and right now in high school football, we're well into the playoffs. It's week 2 of the high school football playoffs. Don't touch the dial. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back, and we'll give you some reports. We'll give you some scores, and later tonight, we're going to reset the brackets for you for the high school football playoffs right here on the Allstate Sugar Bowl Prep Football Roundup, only on WWL.